Hi, welcome to the first episode of the Scary Folktales and Legends podcast. I'm Hallie Bramer.
And I'm Maddie Shields. It's October, and you know what that means. It's spooky season!
In this podcast, we're going to talk about several scary stories that had us shaking in our bones.
The first story is the story of La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman.
I've actually heard this story already before. It was from my friend Lorena, who is actually part of the culture.
Let's get into it. Generations of Mexican children have grown up afraid of La Llorona, a wailing woman whose spirit is stuck on earth and torments little children.
It sounds definitely something like a Halloween myth or type thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So a woman named Maria married a rich man, and they had 2 children together. However, she started to have problems with their marriage.
Her husband started to spend less and less time at home, and when he was at home, he only spent time with their children. Then one day, Maria saw him with another woman.
Filled with rage, some versions claim Maria drowned the 2 children, but she immediately regretted it, crying out, mis hijos, which means, oh, my children. A few versions say she also drowned herself afterwards.
However, when she arrived at heaven's gates, she wasn't allowed to enter, sent back to earth until she could find her lost children.
Now, legends say she floats over the bodies of water in her white funeral gown, forever weeping as she searches for her lost children. Some other versions say she kidnaps or even attacks children. And some also say that she attacks husbands who cheat on their wives.
Wow. Maria's love story may not have been the most romantic one, but this other one that we have had a love to die for. This story is called the Peony Lantern.
Now, this story is one of the most famous Japanese ghost stories that is both romantic and horrific. It seems like Japanese people have a really good way of, making a scary story or something. Because most of the scary stories we look up were actually from Japanese culture.
Oh, really?
And this story starts with a young student named Saburo, who is in love with a beautiful woman named Otsuyu, the daughter of his father's best friend. They meet secretly and promise to marry one another. But Saburo becomes sick and is unable to see Otsuyu for a long time. What does this man get sick with that he's unable to see for long periods of time?
Seems a little sketchy to me. When Saburo recovers from his illness, he is told that Otsuyu has died. They never reveal the cause of her death, but in other tellings of the story, it is said that either Otsuyu's aunt or father killed her after finding out about Saburo and Otsuyu's relationship.
That's tough. I mean, we all know about protective parents and not really approving of relationships, but to kill her over it?
That's a bit harsh.
Now, during the Oberon Festival, which is where the Japanese commemorate and remember their deceased ancestors, Saburo prays for Otsuyu's spirit. 2 women walk towards him. They look remarkably like Otsuyu and her maid, who was said to have died as well for reasons we don't know.
It is revealed that Otsuyu's aunt had spread the rumor of her death and had told her that Saburo had died in order to keep them apart. The lovers begin their relationship in secret again, Otsuyu and her maid visiting at dusk and always leaving before dawn. Each time, Otsuyu's maid bringing a peony lantern.
You know, you'd think he'd probably get suspicious if they just came around, dawn and dusk. Because I know I would. And especially because she's always bringing that lantern. I get maybe it's because they wanted to, make sure they can see each other in the darkness and stuff, but I'd be a little suspicious, hey, why don't you actually come out during the light?
And you'd think that he would, be suspicious or scared that she was supposedly dead?
Yeah, I mean, apparently also it was one of those things where her aunt supposedly spread a rumor, quotation marks, about killing her off, and then told her that she had killed off Saburo and stuff like that. But I think that's a little bit of crap. This continues consistently until one night, one of Saburo's servants, decide to take a peek into Saburo's room and sees him having a fun time with a decaying skeleton.
Oh my. The servant reports to a local priest who locates the grave of Otsuyu and her maid. The priest takes Saburo to these grave sites to convince him of the truth and promises to help protect his home from the spirits.
Now, you'd think that if he's having a fun time with a skeleton, wouldn't you, feel that? I don't know. A skeleton is just bones.
Yeah, this whole story is a little confusing.
How would you not know? But anyways, the priest puts a charm on Saburo's house, which does not allow Otsuyu to come into the house. But each night she returned to confess her love to Soburu outside. Now Soburu's health begins to worsen, and his servants fear that he will die from a broken heart. Not wanting to lose their jobs, they lift the charm, allowing Otsuyo inside the house once again for the night. Now, I mean, I'm all about keeping my job, but if it's going to put the person's life at risk,
Right.
you can find another job.
And get this. In the morning, Soburu is found dead, his body intertwined with Otsuyu's skeleton.
Yeah, so either way, you're losing your job. Okay, although I'd love to keep talking, this is where we have to end our episode.
The advice to gain from this episode is, don't cheat on your wives.
And don't get with skeletons.
Stay spooky.